Liberty Nation with Tim Donner.
The real collusion in the 2016 election was not between the Trump campaign and the Kremlin. It was between the Clinton campaign and the Obama administration. That's the conclusion of an important new book, Ball of Collusion, the plot to rig an election and destroy a presidency, assiduously researched and authored by the widely respected Andrew McCarthy. It unmasked the plan to lure Trump campaign operatives, starting with George Papadopoulos, into a trap that led to surveillance of the Trump campaign by Obama's FBI and ultimately the Robert Mueller special counsel investigation. But after Mueller's almost 2-year-long probe came up with nothing on President Trump other than claims by the left that he tried to obstruct an investigation that discovered no crime, the tables are turning. Trump's Justice Department is investigating the investigation, and we will soon learn about the origins of this plan, which many Trump supporters have labeled a soft coup d'etat. You know Andy McCarthy, former federal prosecutor, from his many appearances on Fox News and elsewhere, and he joins us now. Mr. McCarthy, welcome to Liberty Nation Radio.
Well, thanks so much for having me.
I really appreciate it. Now, as we await the results of 2 Justice Department investigations on the matter, what do we already know as fact, not speculation or analysis, but indisputable fact, when it comes to the origins of the Obama Justice Department and intelligence assets spying on the Trump campaign?
Well, what I try to demonstrate in the book is that I think the investigation that we came to know as Crossfire Hurricane, which is the FBI counterintelligence investigation, formally, and I stress the word formally, opened in the end of July of 2016. And when I say I stress formally, I mean it really was form over substance. They were investigating this for a long time before then. What joins into that formal investigation are strands of intelligence that go back to the second half of 2015 and really begin more with foreign intelligence services and the CIA than the FBI. I think the FBI was kind of late to the game in the overall scheme of things. And it's clear that intelligence assets were used, whether you call them spies or informants or what have you, to monitor the Trump campaign. It's also clear that foreign counterintelligence law provisions were used to justify surveillance. This would be the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. And I think also not just the part of FISA that allows the government to monitor alleged agents of foreign powers, but also other aspects of FISA which allow the government to conduct other forms of surveillance and result in the incidental collection of intelligence on Americans. So I think there's a case that all of those things were used, and what there's cloudiness about, or what we really don't know in terms of the origins of the investigation, are exactly what triggered it and why. That the Trump campaign was monitored by the Obama administration using counterintelligence authorities and federal law is not something that ought to be subject to dispute. That clearly happened.
All right, let's talk about the infamous Steele dossier. It was bankrolled as opposition research by the Clinton campaign, included all manner of scurrilous claims about Trump, and was then used by Obama's FBI to secure a FISA warrant to spy on the Trump campaign, as you outlined. 2 questions on that. Was the Steele dossier the only basis for the FISA warrant? And do we know if anything in that dossier was true? Some of it, none of it?
Well, we know that it was not the only source for the FISA warrant. After all, the FISA warrant wasn't sought until mid-October. Mid-October of 2016, the FBI began getting the Steele dossier reporting in early July. So a number of months went by. We also know from the redacted version of the reports that we've seen that there's other information, mainly about Russia and its operations against the election that are poured into the FISA application. But we also know from testimony from people from the FBI, particularly the former deputy director, Andrew McCarthy, that had it not been for the Steele dossier, they would not have had enough evidence to claim that there was probable cause to believe that Carter Page was a foreign asset, namely a Russian asset. The Steele dossier contains the allegation that there was a conspiracy of cooperation in cyber espionage operations between the Trump campaign and Russia, and that Carter Page, who was the subject of the surveillance, was basically the go-between between the two camps, that is, between the Trump campaign on the one side and the Kremlin on the other. That allegation is contained in the Steele dossier. We don't have any reason to believe that there was any other such allegation against Carter Page. And I would point out that two things. Number one, FISA law requires that when you allege that someone's an enemy or an agent of a foreign power, that means that they are knowingly and willfully involved in clandestine activities on behalf of the foreign power that are in probable violation of federal law. So this is not something that somebody can inadvertently sort of stumble into. And secondly, I'd note that Carter Page was never charged, notwithstanding that the FBI and the Justice Department went 4 times to the FISA court and alleged that there was probable cause that he was a Russian agent. He's never been alleged or arrested or otherwise complained about in a formal way for being a Russian agent. So without the Steele dossier, they would not have had enough probable cause to seek anything on Page. And I don't think the Steele dossier gave it to them either. I think there's a lot of questions that ought to be directed at the FISA court for the way that the information they were given was handled, was analyzed. On the other thing that you've asked me about whether there was anything true in the Steele dossier, I think it would be wrong to say that there's nothing true in it, but the point is that there's nothing that is important that's true in it. So, for example, what I mean by that is the Steele dossier alleges that Carter Page took a trip to Russia in July of 2017. There's no doubt that that happened, and in fact, Page made no secret of it happening. So the fact that, that fact is alleged in the Steele dossier, but it's not a controversial fact. Nobody has denied that happened. What is in dispute is what happened when he was in Russia, where the Steele dossier alleges that he met with these top-level Kremlin officials, and Page himself vehemently denies that, and there's evidently been no corroboration that Steele's allegations were true.
Our guest is Andrew McCarthy, author of Ball of Collusion, The Plot to Rig an Election and Destroy a Presidency. Now, what did you discover, Andy, about the role President Obama himself might have played in this course of events? Or did he build in a sufficient plausible deniability?
Well, I think when things are operating the way they're supposed to be, counterintelligence investigations are done for the president. The fact that this was done as a counterintelligence investigation means that it was done for purposes of collecting intelligence in furtherance of the president's constitutional responsibility to protect the country from foreign threats. I make a big deal distinguishing counterintelligence investigations from criminal investigations. It's not just a formalistic distinction. There's a lot of substance to it. criminal investigations are done in order to vindicate the rule of law in judicial proceedings, and it's got substantial oversight not only by the judiciary but by Congress's own laws, which is what the Justice Department enforces. And in that area of Justice Department and FBI responsibilities, we obviously do not want politics intruding on things like who gets charged and whether somebody gets indicted. By contrast, counterintelligence investigations are done only for the president. The only purpose of doing counterintelligence investigations is to gather information so that the president can protect the country against foreign threats to American interests.
That is Andy McCarthy, author of Ball of Confusion, the plot to rig an election and destroy a presidency. And he had a lot more to say, which we'll offer up for you on next week's show.